Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is yours truly, Marcus Hamner. Hope you guys had a great, amazing, and fantastic day. This time, we're going to do a review on Shang Chi. Now, since Shang Chi came out, when it first came out to theaters, I saw it with my friends and it was incredible. The plot's amazing, the storyline's great, and the fight scenes was just amazing from beginning to end. I've been a huge Shang-Chi fan ever since I was a little kid, and collecting all the comics and reading his stories, I just always get the Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan vibes from Shang-Chi too. And it was because of those guys is the reason why I love martial arts and love to do all the techniques and the roundhouse kicks and everything that comes with it. So I love martial arts myself and love studying the techniques and the martial arts and everything too. So for my next video, I'll do a martial arts routine or martial arts workout too. So I'll definitely get to that in the future. But I've also have a couple of Shang-Chi comics right here next to me. So I want to show this. This is the Hands of Shanghi, Master of Kung Fu, issue 79. I got this from a local comic book store called The Comic Strip, and that's where I will go to get all my comics and all the collectibles there. And I'm sure you guys have like a comic store where you guys can collect all your comics too. But yeah, and this is one of the issues I have right here of Shang-Chi. I also have Shang-Chi, issue 108, which is another collectible classic too. Shang-Chi came out in the 1970s, so around that time, you had the martial art craze like Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan, and that's pretty much where the idea of Shang-Chi came from too. So, and the coolest thing about Marvel is the fact that they're always diversifying their characters. This is a diverse universe anyway, so it pretty much gives off the idea like when Black Panther first came out, how diverse that is, and now with Shang-Chi, same thing as well. So it's actually pretty cool. So, but Shang-Chi is pretty much one of the most popular Marvel characters because he's teamed up with Spider-Man and Daredevil. He's been an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's also been a member of the Avengers. He's good friends with Luke Cage and Iron Fist of Heroes of Hire. So he's one of my favorite top characters too. And it's been a long time coming since he's finally get the request to come to the MCU. So that's really cool. So I know Kevin Feige always listens to the fans, and I'm speaking as a fan myself and speaking for everybody that was trying to campaign to get Shang-Chi into the MCU, and so his wish came true. Kevin did say that he was going to put more Marvel characters, some other comics into the MCU anyway, so that's pretty much an A+ right there. So it's promising we'll see more characters in the future. So I can't wait. But with Shang-Chi the movie, it's about Shang-Chi. He's trying to forget about his past and to have a relationship with his friend Katie and with one of his friends as well. Shang-Chi is also played by Simu Liu, one of my favorite actors. Katie's played by Awkwafina, very funny girl, love her to death. And we also have Tony Liu, who also plays Zenmu, who is the true Mandarin in this movie. And he's also was one of the holders of the 10 Rings as well. And I'll explain what the 10 Rings is about in a second. And also Michelle Yeoh is in the movie as well. So it's a great cast. So the cast is just incredible. But the 10 Rings are the elemental rings that the Mandarin collects in the comics. And in the movie, it pretty much has the same effect as well, but the rings in the movie is a lot bigger than the rings in the comics. In the comics, there are like 10 elemental rings that the Mandarin controls, but in the MCU, in the Shang-Chi movie, the elemental rings actually has the same power, but doesn't have the different elemental effects like the comic book has. So, and I pretty much know that the Mandarin is a longtime adversary of Iron Man, and he's also an adversary of Shang-Chi as well. Of course, in the movie, he's the son of Shang-Chi. He's the father of Shang-Chi. So, but without further ado, we're going to go ahead and break down the movie. I've got Eric Voss next to me of New Rockstars, and like I said, I go to those guys like New Rockstars, Comic Pop, Comic Explain, Comic Historian, and The Real Rejects. Those are my go-to guys. And even though I'm good at breaking Easter eggs myself, I usually go to those guys too, because people always ask me questions about, like, who's this character right there, or what's the story about, and who's this, and who's this character, who's the villain in this story. So like my friends and my family will always ask me questions about that, because they know that, hey, Marcus knows about this, let's ask him. So I get that all the time. So, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and Shang Chi in The Legend of the Ten Rings introduces a new Avenger to the MCU, deeply rooted in mystic mythology, unafraid to pose cryptic questions about the monsters in the shadows of our dimension, and the wonderful weirdos Wong.
And it's got mythological portions to it too, so there's elements of that.
Layers of meaning and the Marvel Easter eggs that you might have missed. The film opens
there's like a lot of deeper meanings into this too. So
the army of Wenwu, played by the great Tony Leung, who possesses the 10 Rings. Now, the 10 Rings organization has appeared in the MCU since the beginning. The terrorist network who kidnapped Tony Stark in the first Iron Man, the operative who aided Ivan Vanko in Iron Man 2, the weapons buyer in Ant-Man, and of course, iconography appropriated in Iron Man 3 by Aldrich Killian and the false Mandarin, the paid actor Trevor Slattery, who actually returns in this film after being extracted from Seagate Prison by forces of the true Mandarin in the 2014 short film All Hail the King, now viewable on Disney+.
Yeah, and that's actually a great series too. The fact that All Hail the King pretty much delves into the fact that the true Mandarin is out there. And ever since Trevor was put into prison after the events of Iron Man 3, we actually get a scene where he breaks out of prison with the help of the true Mandarin. And I know it was also some backlash with the fans as well, because they didn't like the reveal of the other Mandarin from Iron Man 3. So they decided to make a short of All Hail the King, which pretty much takes place when Trevor, the fake Mandarin, was in the prison in Seagate, and then he was bailed out by the true Mandarin. So pretty much it was setting up that there was going to be another scene where the Mandarin comes in, and that's where Trevor comes and sides up with Shang-Chi. He makes an appearance from there too. So it's a lot of cool setbacks from that too, though. So as far as like, everything, but I've seen All Hail the King, and it's really good. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, it's on Disney Plus. Watch it anytime. So if you guys got any questions about that, just let me know. But let's continue.
Here on this flag, the 10 Rings logo has had its central weapons replaced with the hook swords used by Wenwu's warriors. And within each of these...
And then with the 10 Rings, especially with the seal that's encryption with them, the Chinese symbols on it, it pretty much has like different meanings of what they represent. So yeah, but like I said, the 10 Rings is actually pretty cool. So let's continue.
Rings is a character from an ancient Chinese calligraphy known as seal script. Going from the top, it means power or authority. Clockwise to the right means physical strength. The third means strong or robust. Yeah, a lot of these translate to some version of strength or power, kind of like the 10 Rings of what's up. The fourth means extraordinary.
The 10 Rings of what's up.
The fifth means hero, heroic, or outstanding person. The sixth means power, influence. It's also associated with male genitals. The seventh means large, extensive, great in the literal sense. The eighth means powerful or grand, and also refers to things that are male. The ninth means strong or powerful, and the 10th means pump or power. Now, by
pump and circumstance, male dominance.
Mandarin from the Marvel Comics, later renamed Shang Chi, but he's also kind of based on Shang-Chi's traditional father, a character known as Fu Manchu. Yes, another bit of very problematic history that Marvel has retconned over the years.
Now, see, I was thinking that when they were going to do Shang-Chi, like how they're going to tie into Fu Manchu, because in the comics, Fu Manchu is the father of Shang-Chi, but because of like controversial the name of the character, Marvel basically reconned his character over the years. So that's the reason why they changed the name in particular. But I actually like the fact that they've actually allowed the Mandarin to be the father of Shang-Chi. So the fact that they've had Zheng to become the father of Shang-Chi was actually pretty brilliant. So I like the story too, not to mention the character selects and the characters of the Chinese symbols as well. So, and I'm pretty good with writing Chinese symbols, so they're not too bad at all. So I'm pretty good with that. So, but like I said, I thought it was pretty cool that they've actually changed the character's name because of like the controversial name that came behind it, and then pretty much adding it to it with having Zheng becoming the father of Shang-Chi. So that was actually pretty awesome in their part. So let's continue.
The comics comics, the Ten Rings are an ancient alien McLuhan technology, each containing the spirit of a cosmic warrior, giving each ring a different ability.
Exactly.
But here the film reconceives them as equally powered wrist bracelets, evoking the iron strength bracelets of Chinese martial arts like Hungar.
Yep, Hungar. Another martial art technique.
Spacecraft of Axon Kar, and later on in this film it is said that Wen-Wu might have found them in a crater or a tomb, but it's never confirmed.
Yeah, it hasn't been confirmed, so.
Now, in the MCU past, Ten Rings members Raza and Jackson Norris bragged about the Ten Rings' history of conquest in the Asian continent.
The bow and arrow once was the pinnacle of weapons technology. It allowed the great Genghis Khan to rule from the Pacific to the Ukraine.
He was a warrior king. Inspired generations of men through the Middle Ages.
And now we actually get to see that history as Wen-Wu whips his Ten Rings into a shield that deflects all enemy arrows. The previous pinnacle of technology now being supplanted by his. And I love this
Which
shot
was so cool.
His rings
That's actually a great shot right there. So.
Baton, just like we saw Norris use in All Hail the King. Now the film returns to these extensive flashbacks throughout the narrative. So for now, just to stick with the chronology, Wen-Wu travels through a bamboo forest and discovers a clearing guarded by Zhang Li, Paula Chen's character, who duels him in this beautiful acrobatic ballet with movements that are actually based on Tai Chi. Contrastingly,
Tai Chi. Yeah, I was getting that kind of vibe too.
His son and all of his warriors is based on
martial art technique.
traditional southern Chinese kung fu, but Zhang Li's style reigns supreme as she knocks him off balance. Her fighting style incorporates airbending, something the people of Ta Lo seem to be skilled at.
Airbending, Ta Lo.
Connection to the earth that Wen-Wu's mastery over
See, I was getting Avatar vibes too, so
can't really compete with.
I'll talk about that next.
It's a lovely story that we get to see, and it's a genre referred to as wuxia. You may have also seen titles like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It refers to mythological romances set amidst picturesque natural landscapes. The cinematographer of this film was Bill Pope, who actually shot The Matrix.
And see, I was getting those vibes too, as far as like the different martial art styles from past movies, and then also as far as like the martial art styles in it too, because the fight scene, especially in the earlier scenes with Zen-Ru and his future wife, it kind of gives me Airbender vibes and Legend of Korra. So Avatar: The Last Bender and The Legend of Korra, and how there's like different martial art styles that also represents earth, wind, fire, and air. So those elementals pretty much plays a part in that too. So I was getting vibes to that too, which I thought it was actually really cool. So I saw some airbending vibes when she was fighting him too at the same time too. So I thought that was pretty cool. So, but yeah, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, one of my favorite movies as well. And then mentioning The Matrix as well. So it was pretty cool. So let's continue.
You can see the parallels in the warm color tones and the wire work.
Yeah, the parallels are uncanny. So
almost as if in bullet time. Now the rings glow blue whenever they're used by Wen-Wu, contrasting the golden colors associated with Shang Chi and his mother and her people. Blue is a colder color tone associated with death, since that really is how Wen-Wu uses these rings. Whereas gold is associated with sunlight and life. Wen-Wu gives himself a
it's like life and death, pretty much.
His rings away, giving up immortality, falling in love with Zhang Li, and having two children, Shang Chi and Zai Ling.
And Zai Ling, Shang Chi's sister.
Necklaces, but the fun comes to an end when Wen-Wu's former enemies find him, the Iron Gang, and they attack while he's away, killing Zhang Li. Now, it is interesting that they are called the Iron Gang, and Iron Man is a longtime enemy to the Mandarin comics.
Exactly.
So in his grief, Wen-Wu returns to his
just like I said, Iron Man is the Mandarin is a long-time adversary of the Iron Man, so.
Follow in his footsteps. He does this with the help of his lieutenant, Death Dealer, based on the killer Death Dealer Li Xinling in the comics. Wen-Wu orders
in the comics, Death Dealer,
And Shang-Chi never returns home afterward, leaving his sister behind. Bringing us to the modern day in San Francisco. Shang-Chi, going by the name Sean, played by Simu Liu, lives in a garage, and there's a poster on his wall for the movie Kung Fu Hustle, a martial arts action comedy, a must-see, which also features the use of iron strength.
Yeah, Kung Fu Hustle, that's pretty cool. I haven't seen it just yet, but I heard it was pretty awesome, so I was going to check that out too. So.
Several other Marvel heroes have been introduced as the owners of nice sports cars, especially the people who park them. Shang-Chi eats breakfast with Katie's family, but on the way in, outside the building, there's a poster reading Post-Flip Anxiety.
Post-Flip Anxiety, yup.
Hotline. I guess kind of like a post-Endgame version of what Steve Rogers had in Endgame.
Yeah, pretty much.
For people going through the kind of trauma Monica Rambeau went through at the hospital, or that
disappear for 5 years and then come right back with the book. Thank you, Thanos.
For something called Lip Sync, which, according to interviews with the screenwriters, is a dating app for those who were blipped. Good luck
Yeah,
getting
blip
them
sync.
about their ages. And mistakenly sits in the seat of Katie's grandmother's late husband. And Katie and her mother debate the importance of superstitiously clinging to the memory of dead loved ones, which is our first hint at this movie's deeper theme of ancestral grief. Shang-Chi, as a character, wants to
ancestral
escape the
grief.
bloodshed of his ancestry, while his father lets his grief drive him mad and threaten to spread literal soullessness across the world. So Shang-Chi must learn to channel his pain from his father into something different, something positive, which is an idea director Daniel Destin Cretton said was key to his own journey of self-discovery while crafting this film. These rings symbolize that ancestral weight, dragging Wen-Wu down, but when transferred to his son, they change color and become a force for good. Katie tells Shang-Chi about her art of confusion defense tactic, which is randomly singing the Eagles Hotel California. Ironically, Katie and Shang-Chi work at a hotel in California where they may feel like they, in the words of the song, can check out anytime they like, but they can never leave. Now
It's that Hotel California,
worlds in karaoke, reflecting their escapist fantasies, trying to find a whole new world. But then in the post-credit scene, they hilariously come back to Hotel California with Wong.
I thought that was hilarious. And also, too, I thought it's fascinating that they've compared Shang-Chi and Katie to Aladdin and Jasmine because they're trying to escape and go to a whole new world. And that's what Aladdin was doing with Jasmine at the time as well. So I thought that was like a good comparison between the two. So, and both movies are awesome, too. So I love Aladdin. Aladdin's awesome. So let's continue.
As he said, there's no turning back. They're now trapped in this Avengers crisis world, and they can never leave. Katie and Shang-Chi get jumped on a bus with amazing stunt work that keeps your eye on the
Yeah, the fighting is incredible, like I said.
Himself, but his necklace. Meanwhile, in the early rounds of the fight, you'll notice Razor Fist glowers at them from the back of the bus.
Yeah, Razor Fist is right there, too.
Playing the assassin from the comics. Watching this all go down is comedian Zach Cherry as
Zach Cherry's hilarious, too.
Coming at you live on the bus. I actually did take a little bit of martial arts as a youth, so I'm going to try and grade this fight as we're going.
This same guy previously...
Yep, same guy, too.
He told Spider-Man to do
And see...
Okay, Spider-Man!
Go flip! And see, I would do the same thing, too. I would film in the same time, too.
Or do a flip guy to get his own MCU spin-off, so it's awesome to see him come back here. Now look closely at the comments on Clev's live stream. They include @Capiopia saying these dudes are regretting their life decisions. Then
Anti-Darkness.
Unreal.
Anti-Darkness, yep. Agatha Harkness.
This could be Auntie Agnes.
Seen the stream live.
Harkness, often clad in purple, not really sure what her reality is because at this point over in Westview, she's stuck in a trance after Wanda Maximoff left her there in the WandaVision final episode.
Not to mention Agatha Harkness is getting her own series too, so I'm curious to see how she's going to get out of that trance that Wanda put her in. And chances are, I got a feeling that she's going to show up in Multiverse of Madness too, so it's going to be intriguing.
Then there's Climbing Guy 3000 who says, I literally can't even. This could be an alias of Peter Parker.
Yeah, Spider-Man singing it.
Shouting out the guy who loved us 3000. You also notice how several commenters praise Shang-Chi's fighting skills, calling him Bus Boy, which is a bit of viral fame, similar to how Peter Parker initially got the attention of the whole world and of Tony Stark in online videos.
So similar too.
And he was a boy, literally also saving a city bus. And after he takes down a few of them, the extra award goes to Jean Jacket here, who crosses her arms until the guy falls and her eyes bulge out at Shang-Chi. Now, contrasting the more stylized fight choreography of his elders, Shang-Chi's combat is more practical and slapstick. He uses his jacket, he springs off the elasticity.
I get Jackie Chan vibes from that too,
so. Of his environment to subdue his foes. This style was made famous by Jackie Chan films, all coming from this movie's stunt coordinator, the late Brad Allen, who was a member
Brad
of
Allen,
the Jackie Chan stunt team, who receives a lovely tribute in this movie's credits. And you can see more of this intricate stunt work later in the scaffolding fight. Shang-Chi uses the planks balanced on the bamboo to both swing himself down to the lower level while seesawing it to knock someone in the head. And later knocks down an enemy to turn that person into a bridge to run across and then knock them down. It's all like a big elaborate game of mousetrap. It's super fun to watch. But back to the bus fight, it all goes down in 3 acts. The second act begins as the bus enters the tunnel. And notice the camera stays on Shang-Chi from the exterior of the bus as he works his way down it from right to left. He throws dudes out the window, just kind of mows them down, paralleling the amazing lateral camera movement in the iconic hallway fight in the 2003 movie Old Boy. The third act
Old Boy. I never seen Old Boy. I gotta check that out too. So
now, as Razor Fist slices the fellows, look carefully because at first you can see the necklace around Shang-Chi's neck. But then he turns his back to us, and Razor Fist starts moving his other hand around. And then when Shang-Chi kicks Razor Fist into the back half as it tears off around the turn, and he leaps at us into the front half of the bus, you can see Shang-Chi's neck is bare, and his necklace is now gone. And that must have been the moment Razor Fist.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Doesn't realize it until later. Now, at dinner, their friend references the blip when she says they live in a world where anyone can disappear at any moment.
Yeah.
So again, yes, this is set after Endgame. And notice how Shang-Chi wears a Silmar High School shirt that on the back says Class of 2017. So if 10 years have now passed since Shang-Chi ran away when he was 14 years old, if he graduated in the year 2017, that would set this movie in July 2024 by the Jazz Music Festival ads on the bus, setting this at almost exactly the same time as Spider-Man Far From Home when he was in Europe,
Exactly.
and also allowing us to conclude that Shang-Chi, to be this old, must have survived the snap and must have had to age during those 5 years. Now, to be honest, it's easier to catch these details after you've had a good night of sleep, but no matter how hard I try, it's just hard to get my bedroom completely dark at night. Like, I got chargers, I got alarms, power strips everywhere.
Yeah, and actually those two movies I was talking about, like Kung Fu Hustle and Oh Boy, I never seen those before, so I have to check those out when I get a chance for sure. So, like I said, I love seeing martial arts stuff. I've seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and I've also seen like all the martial art movies too, Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee. But Kung Fu Hustle's gotta be a must, so I gotta check it out too. So, yeah.
To get everyone the perfect fit, and it works for people who sleep on their belly, on their side, and on their back. You can fully open your eyes while wearing it. Yeah, my eyes are open right now.
The night goggles? Oh my gosh. But yeah, as far as like those martial arts scenes are pretty much like a callback to all the other martial art movies as well. So I thought that was actually pretty cool. So it's a good callback. So, but yeah, Shang-Chi is just incredible. So yeah, tribute to Bruce Lee too. So yeah.
Possible right now. Get yourself a Blue Box Remedy sleep mask. Just go to BLUBLOX.
Blue Box Remedy sleep mask. I think I'm good.
Get 20% off your order.
I might try though. I think I'm good.
Shang-Chi follows a postcard leading him to Macau, along with
Macau.
to this cage fighting club owned by his sister Xialing, but
Xialing
operated
is
by
there too.
Ronnie Chang as John John. This club is called the Golden Daggers Club. Now,
and Abomination was there too.
Shang-Chi Comics, Master of Kung Fu number 44, and it was the name of one of Fu Manchu's subsidiary groups.
Yeah.
Now, in the various
Golden Daggers.
Good
callback to comics.
There's also a female warrior. No stunt actress Jade Ju returns in this
Yeah,
movie
Jade
after
Ju's
she
turn.
played a Black Widow agent in the movie Black Widow. And in the credits, she is credited as Widow, meaning she is the same character from Black Widow, which might be why she now wears black with a red belt. And she must be one of those freed Black Widows from the Red Room. And
Yeah, from the Red Room. From Black Widow. Yeah, I wasn't seeing Spell too.
Red-orange, apparently a recipient of AIM's extremist treatment from Iron Man 3,
Yeah.
suggesting that some of Aldrich Killian's test subjects might have gotten away from that.
I think so too.
One of them now has his life fighting in cage matches on the other side of the world, but the marquee match...
I was getting that too. And you can see the fact that Ian claimed himself as the Mandarin was like, it wasn't really that cool, you know? And I know that there was like a lot of backlash from that too, which I think the reason why, like I mentioned earlier, a few minutes before I started the video, that there was going to be like All Hail the King, which is pretty much like a one shoot from, from Iron Man 3. So it was actually interesting that there's a true Mandarin was still out there though. So let's continue.
Is Wong, Doctor Strange's fellow sorcerer, fighting Abomination. Now remember, Abomination was Emil Blonsky, Tim Roth, who fought the Edward Norton version of Hulk in Harlem in the 2008 film, and we believe has been imprisoned ever since. It is amazing to see him return in the MCU here. This version of him looks different with a greener color and headbands. He also wears pants, similar to his appearance from the comics. But this change
it was cool seeing Abomination too, so Emil Blonsky.
Wasn't really explained either, but Wong does call him Emil in this movie, so it is the same character. After Abomination actually hits Wong, Wong gets him back by opening a portal to make Abomination knock himself out, similar to how Wong used clever portal tricks to beat Big Boy Call Obsidian in Infinity War. Later,
that was cool. Wong is awesome. Yeah, he's really cool.
It has a high-tech containment
I've always been a fan of Wong, especially from the comics too, so, as I mentioned before.
This facility could be the Raft prison, or some other facility overseen
Yeah,
by
the
Thaddeus
Raft,
Ross.
the maximum
His
security
response
prison.
is being allowed to train as part of Ross and Val's upcoming Thunderbolts initiative. And maybe they only trusted Wong, the sorcerer, to be his chaperone. Meanwhile, Shang-Chi fights his sister. Behind him is a flag that looks like the flag of Madripoor, the fictional Southeast Asian country that appeared in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The postcard we found out was sent
Madripoor.
not by Zhai Ling, but by their father. A trick to trap both of them in the same place at the same time. Shang-Chi fights the Ten Rings warriors on the scaffolding and fights Death Dealer until his father appears and lays a gentle but terrifying ring-equipped wrist on his shoulder. So they all return to the Ten Rings compound, where Wenwu reconciles the MCU's past depictions of the Mandarin legend with his truth, laughing how Aldrich Killian invented the Mandarin boogeyman identity named it after a chicken dish. And we actually see on his video screens footage of Tony Stark's captivity by the Ten Rings in the first Iron Man film. Wenwu plugs Shang-Chi and Zhai Ling.
And I thought it was cool that Wenwu actually mentioned the fake Mandarins that were mentioned in Iron Man 3 as well. So, yeah, they basically tried to, like, you know, not reveal his true identity. So I thought that was actually cool how they actually all put it together. So if you think about it, you're going back to watch Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3, and it all makes sense too. So, but let's continue.
As pendants into the eyes of the wooden dragon carving in his shrine, causing water to flow out and mystically bend, revealing the path in the bamboo forest maze that will lead
Bamboo
to
Forest.
Ta Lo, Zhang Li's hidden kingdom that he was never allowed to enter, and where he now believes her soul to be trapped in a cave. Voices calling out to him. Now, in the Marvel Comics, Ta Lo is one of the God Realms, a small pocket dimension adjacent to Earth, the great canopy of heaven, home to celestial dragons, and a phoenix-like Fang Huang, the wooden Quillen beast, and the canine-like Hete, and the race known as the Jiang. I'm sorry if I mispronounced any of that. And surviving
Not pronouncing it at all. Doing great, Eric.
Ben Kingsley, serving as the
There's Trevor. Ben Kingsley, great actor too.
All Hail the King short. And when they stumble upon him here, he was quoting the knock 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 monologue from Shakespeare's Macbeth, the drunken porter from Act 2, Scene 3. And in that scene,
that was funny. Shakespeare reference too.
Hell, reinforcing one of the themes of that play, that the castle setting is really a form of hell for the characters. And for Trevor Slattery, this is a speech that amused Wenwu enough that they keeping him around, which is super ironic since Trevor ends up as a supporting player at this movie's Hell's Gate as it opens. Also, fun fact, Palpatine actor Ian McDiarmid played the porter in the famous 1978 production that starred Ian McKellen as Macbeth and Judi Dench as Lady Macbeth.
Palpatine. Unlimited power.
He calls a chicken pig, but Morris is actually a Dijang from Chinese mythology associated with the personification of Hundun, a legendary faceless being of primal chaos. This guy actually appeared back in Wenwu's research journal in the movie's opening minutes alongside sketches of several other mythological beings who later appeared in Ta Lo. They break out and steal Razorfist's car, and since we never hear his name spoken aloud in the movie, the fact that his name is written all over his car is really the only way we
pretty much Razorfist.
to guide them through the bamboo forest.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting his name was never spoken at all. I knew it was Razorfist too, so.
Lots of other mythological creatures, including the Huli Jing, that's a nine-tailed
Nine-tailed fox, yep.
The
Nine-tailed fox.
These are the big lion-like creatures that guard shrines and temples
Yeah.
and airs. These are also known as guardian lions, and Wenwu actually has statue versions of them at the gates of the Ten Rings compound. And the vermilion bird, representing the element of fire. And that turquoise horse with the face of a dragon is the Longma, which really just translates to horse dragon. Seeing one of these is supposed to be considered an omen of a legendary sage ruler, which, if you think about it, both
seeing those elemental creatures are actually pretty cool too, so.
The Ta Lo people are led by Guangbo, played by Yuen Ma, legendary Hong Kong actor and stuntman who worked with Bruce Lee in the 60s and 70s with films like Fist of Fury and Enter the Dragon. And the popularity of Bruce Lee in particular is one of the big influences of the Shang-Chi comics of that time.
Which is what I just said. Shang-Chi, basically, if
Lee's sister, who explains how they are connected to this benevolent dragon that they call the Great Protector, who for them has fought off a
and it's like I said, that's another reason why Shang-Chi was part of tribute to Bruce Lee, because like one of the actors was also part of the Bruce Lee scene, and that was the reason why Shang-Chi was created. So, yeah, just like I said, let's continue.
Entity from another realm that, along with its smaller tentacled drones, feeds on souls. Now, the creature is only ever given the name of Dweller in Darkness, and non-explained
D.O.D., Dweller in Darkness.
cities that spanned alternate realms beyond this world. This is the beast trapped behind the seal, who has been in Wenwu's head, disguising himself as the voice of his deceased wife, which is similar to Lovecraftian monsters like Cthulhu and Nyarlathotep, who form psychic telepathic links with mortals, driving them crazy. Nan says the Dweller of Darkness promises your greatest desires, an oddly specific Faustian offer, which could link with the cosmic dark magic of Peter Parker's wish fulfillment spell in Spider-Man No Way Home.
And it's like all connected too.
Inside the 10 rings that Wong discovers in the post-credit scene could be setting up a supernatural interdimensional threat that the Marvel heroes will face in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. A villain like Shuma Gorath, or one of the other tentacled elder gods, or the demon Kafan, who drafted the Darkhold and in the comics initially cursed Wanda Maximoff with her sorcery. Or maybe a figure like Nightmare or Mephisto, of whom this beast could have been a weapon of their making. Also, this week's episode of What If brought back that mysterious interdimensional tentacle monster from the pilot episode, really the first continuity we've seen on that series. We've only seen just one part of that giant creature so far. It was one of many mystic demons from other realms that Doctor Strange absorbed. Could these creatures be linked to the one we saw in Shang Chi? Well, while not everything we see on the animated What If series will cross over into the live-action MCU, this definitely parallels Shang-Chi's hints of this demonic tentacled monster from other realms trying to absorb life forces, and it would not surprise me at all if Doctor Strange in Multiverse of Madness ends up establishing this Soul Sucker and the What If monster as part of the same family.
I think it's all gonna be connected. That's what I believe too.
The seal, we learned, is formed from dragon scales of the Great Protector. Dragon scales also form the armor and the weaponry of these Ta Lo Guardians. And Shang-Chi receives his comic-accurate suit, a fabric made of these same scales, which, along with Zhang Ling's new clothes, were left to both of them by their mother. And Nan carries that legacy of her sister by training Shang-Chi in that Tai Chi style that his mother used to defeat his father Wenwu, by opening up his fist into an open palm, and setting up Shang-Chi in the final battle to defeat his father using that same kind of dance and beautiful eye contact we saw in that earlier scene. Also in this training,
which was the coolest.
The face of it is windy and serpentine, the body of the Great Protector, showing how in this setting they are bound by the dragon's protection.
The dragon's protection.
They train up to brace for this fight with Wenwu and his forces, who arrive, leading to this vicious battle between the Ten Rings and the warriors of Ta Lo. The father and son face off, but Wenwu blasts Shang-Chi into the water and begins hammering away at the gate, allowing soul suckers to leap into this realm. One of them snatches Death Dealer, and the two warring sides.
Yeah, Death Dealer got his hand deal too, so.
Because only Ta Lo weaponry works against them. Meanwhile, deep in the water, Shang-Chi awakens the Great Protector and reconfronts his father at the foot of this crumbling seal. Now, after Shang-Chi failed to defeat his father using the same Wing Chun combat that his father taught him, this time he disarms Wenwu the same way Zhang Li did, using the more graceful Tai Chi movements, bending the rings to his will. And seeing that his great love lives on not in the imposter from beyond, but in the grace of his son, grace that persisted despite Wenwu's best efforts to stamp it out. Wenwu learns the core lesson of this film of ancestral grief, that the pain of our past isn't reason to destroy, it's fuel meant to rechannel life. And I would argue, despite this being a pretty strong origin story for Shang-Chi in the MCU, as a whole, this movie is less of the story of the hero, but like other great Marvel films, like Avengers Infinity War, Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Black Panther, this is truly the story of the villain with a complex soul. Wenwu is truly the heart of this film, and it makes it a more captivating story, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
pretty much.
hilariously plays dead, and Morris joins him, all while the rest work together to take
Trevor
down
playing
the
dead was
Soul
hilarious.
Sucker, including an amazingly lucky arrow hit by Katie. They send lanterns out in the water to memorialize the fallen, and leave it to Zhai Ling to dismantle the Ten Rings network, but as we learn in the second post-credit scene, she actually takes over the throne and expands the Ten Rings operation to return in either a sequel or a Disney Plus series. I personally hope to oversee a fighting tournament of eccentric fighters.
Oh, me too. That's what you want to see too.
Drinks that Shang-Chi defeated the monster by doing a Kamehameha fireball. Of course, not Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Z, yep. That was funny when I heard that too, the Kamehameha wave. I was like, Dragon Ball Z references, man. So I was like, martial arts to all glory. So cool.
And after not being believed by their friends, Katie and Shang Chi are summoned by Wong to join them in a Sanctum Sanctorum, where in the post-credit scene, they meet Bruce Banner and Captain Marvel, learn of the pulsing beacon in the rings, all of which I went into in another video. But
Yeah, post-credit scenes too, Wong showing up.
Shang-Chi joining Wong through a portal ring. A way of showing
Shang-Chi and
how
Katie.
when these rings glowed blue, they were heavy burdens chaining Shang-Chi to death, to the pain of his father. But now, as they glow golden, they represent a magical gateway to another world, to life for this future Avenger. You can support New Rockstars by checking out our merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com, like this amazing shirt design that I'm wearing. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EABoss.
Yeah, so Shang-Chi in a nutshell. And like I was saying before, the movies I was going to mention, like Kung Fu Hustle and Old Boy, I'm going to check those out too, so they're really cool. And actually, I was thinking like throughout the whole time since we actually saw elemental creatures by the time of the fighting scene with Shang-Chi, one creature that I was actually looking for was Fin Fang Foom. And Fin Fang Foom is another elemental creature that takes a place in the Marvel Universe as well. So he's like another legendary dragon that's also an adversary of Iron Man as well. So, and he also partners with the Mandarin in the Iron Man animated series from the 90s as well. So I was actually looking forward to seeing him. We might get him in the future as well. So I say in the sequels and everything with Shang-Chi appearing anymore, I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see where they're going to go from here. With Shang-Chi getting his sequel and everything like that too. And I know I mentioned Jackie Chan too. There has been talks of Jackie Chan coming to the MCU, so I believe they're actually working out the details of getting him involved as well. So, I mean, that would be awesome. I know Bruce Lee would love this if he was still here too, so I have to think that Bruce would have been involved with a lot of stuff, like being involved with the UFC, more than likely being involved with Marvel too, so it would have been pretty cool. But there's been talks about Jackie Chan coming into the MCU for sure. So, yeah, but I'll get information about that in the future as well. So, but all in all, great movie. Everything from beginning to ending was just perfect. I loved it. Friends loved it. So, it was incredible. So, but yeah, the actors did a really great job. I'm looking forward to seeing the sequel, and it's going to be amazing. So, but yeah, but if you guys have any questions, comment below as usual. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions about the movie and if you know anything about that, just let me know. And comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Feedback's always great too. So I've got more stuff coming up too. So, but yeah, in the meantime, you guys take care of yourselves. One peace, one love. Until next time, my friends. I'll see ya.